guys, and welcome to Cultural Geography Chapter 12. This chapter deals with the continent of South America. So we're going to be taking a look at the continent of South America and all of the different diversity and cultures that exist within this beautiful continent. So let's start off by talking about the fact that in area, South America is much smaller than North America. However, South America does still have a lot of diversity, just as North America does. When South America was discovered by Europeans, it was already filled with different tribes of Indians. However, eventually, with the Europeans came the Latin culture of Europe, and it dominated the continent. During this particular time, though, you had Spanish and Portuguese explorers that were competing for trade rights and for possession and ownership of the new land. To settle disputes that arose between these two particular countries, Pope Alexander VI decided to divide the then known world between these two dominant countries that were sending explorers. So Spain and Portugal had to split the land in half. He divided it with an imaginary line called the line of demarcation. The line of demarcation. All right. With the line of demarcation, it was established that Portugal could claim all lands that were east of the line, and that Spain could claim all lands that were west of the line. This is going to be very important, you guys, as we continue to go throughout the continent. It has to deal with how the different cultures, languages were established. What's very important to note on this slide is the line of demarcation. You need to know that it divided the world between Spain and Portugal, and that Portugal could claim lands east of the line, and Spain could claim the lands west of the line. Very important to know that about the line of demarcation. All right, let's continue. So we're going to begin with talking about the two Caribbean countries of South America. We're going to start off with Colombia and Venezuela. Colombia and Venezuela. So first of all, let's kind of talk about the people who live in the Caribbean countries of Colombia and Venezuela. The majority of the people that dwell within these two Caribbean countries are 58% mestizo, the rest are white, this is 20%, mulattoes are 14%, blacks are another 14%, and zombos. Zombos are mixed black and Amerindian. This is very important to know. This is also a test question. Make sure you understand what a zombo is, and that a zombo is mixed black and Amerindian. The last 3% are those, and 1% are just regular Amerindians. The reason why Colombia and Venezuela are called the Caribbean countries are because they border the Caribbean Sea. Remember how I was saying earlier that they were settled by Portuguese and Spanish. If you notice where the line of demarcation fell, it divided, not in half, but it split South America. So, the Spanish and Portuguese created colonial systems, and because of that, they were resented very much by the colonists, meaning that the colonists hated them because remember what I told you, a lot of them were there before they even arrived. All right. You had Creoles who lived there. They are Spanish people born in South America, so they're Spanish. The Creoles actually finally revolted against their oppressors, and they were led by a gentleman by the name of Simon Bolivar. Simon Bolivar is considered to be the greatest hero of Latin America because he led the revolt. He was born in Venezuela to a rich Creole family. He helped to defeat the Spanish and liberate his homeland. He liberated Colombia. He freed Venezuela and liberated Ecuador. What's important that you know here from this slide is who Simon Bolivar was. He was the greatest hero of Latin America, and he liberated many areas of South America. So make sure you know who he is. All right, moving on to Colombia. Colombia is located at what is called the crossroads of the American continent, and it is because within Colombia exists the border with Panama. All right, Panama connects South America and North America. So that's why Colombia is called the crossroads of the two American continents. Very important to know that that is also a test question, that Colombia is considered to be the crossroads of the American continents. Colombia is unique in South America because it has coasts on both the Caribbean Sea and the Pacific Ocean. Very important to know that. That is also a test question. It is very hot, and the majority of the population, as far as the Caribbean lowlands, they live in Colombia. All right. So your test question that comes from this slide is the fact that Colombia has coasts on both the Caribbean and the Pacific, and that makes Colombia unique. Colombia also has a mountainous interior. Most Colombians will live in the cool valleys of the Andes Mountains. The Andes Mountains make up several ranges. It has the Western Range, or the Cordillera Occidental. The lowest range of the three is the Cordillera Central. And then the easternmost range is called the Cordillera Oriental. The one that you have to know for the test is about the Cordillera Oriental. What you need to know about that is the easternmost Andes range, and it reaches into Venezuela. Continuing on with Colombia and the Andes Mountains, it's very important to know that the Andes Mountains provide Colombia with several important products. Colombia is the fourth, listen to what I said, the fourth, not the top, the fourth largest coffee producing country. It is also the world's largest producer of Arabica coffee, which is the highest quality of coffee bean there is. The other thing that the Andes Mountains provides to Colombia are broad grassy plains called llanos. They cover 60% of Colombia itself. Very important to know on this particular page that Colombia is the world's fourth largest coffee producer. You also need to know that the broad grassy plains that cover over half of Colombia are called llanos, and that Coffea Arabica is popular for its aroma. Now you might not see that here on this particular slide, but I am letting you know to write that down. Make sure you do, because that is a test question. All right, let's move on now to Venezuela. Venezuela All right, let's move on now to Venezuela. Venezuela contains the coastal mountains of the Andes. This is where the Andes Mountains taper off into the Caribbean Sea. The Venezuela is home of Lake Maracaibo, which is the largest lake on the continent of South America. Very important to know that Lake Maracaibo is the largest lake on the continent of South America. Make sure to write that down because that is a test question. And finally, I'm going to talk about Guyana. The Guyana Highlands. This is what separates Venezuela's Caribbean coast from the Amazon basin. Guyana itself, was the westernmost colony that was once British. It has block-shaped mountains that are called teepees that rise high above the interior of Guyana. This is part of the Guyanan Highlands. It is a rugged plateau that separates the Caribbean coast from the Amazon basin. And I pretty much said that already. All right. So let's see how much you guys were paying attention. Here comes your pop quiz. Question 1. People of mixed black and Amerindian descent are called what? Question 2. The broad grassy plains that cover over half of Colombia are called what? 3. Teepees are what? 4. What is the largest lake in South America? 5. Coffea arabica is popular for what? 6. The greatest hero of Latin America, who liberated many areas of South America, was who? 7. The easternmost range of the Andes is called what? 8. The line of demarcation allowed Portugal to gain lands west of the line and Spain to gain lands east of the line. True or false? 9. Venezuela's border with Panama is South America's only geographic tie to North America. True or false? 10. Colombia has coast on both the Caribbean Sea and the Pacific Ocean. True or false? 11. Colombia is the world's leading producer of coffee. True or false? 12. Colombia has coast on both the Caribbean Sea and the Pacific Ocean. True or false? 13. The Guyanas were all French colonies. True or